Okay, think about this for a second. Our planet is 4.5 billion years old. And modern humans? Well, we've only been on the scene for about 300,000 of those years. That leaves an almost unimaginable amount of time just empty. We kind of like to think of ourselves as the top of the pyramid, right? The grand finale of Earth's story. But what if we're not? What if we're just the latest chapter? So let's dive into that very idea.
It's a question that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction, doesn't it? But it's one that a few very serious scientists have actually dared to ask. I mean, if some other industrial civilization rose and fell millions and millions of years before us, would we even know? Would there be anything left to find? And if there was, where would you even begin to look?
So this whole exploration is actually grounded in a really fascinating scientific thought experiment. It came out in 2018 from two scientists, Adam Frank and Gavin Schmidt. They called it the Silurian Hypothesis, which, fun fact, is a little nod to an old Doctor Who episode. And the core idea is pretty simple. After millions of years of earthquakes, erosion, and continent shifting, any civilization's cities, their statues, their roads, all of it would be ground to absolute dust. So you'd have to look for other much more subtle clues.
Now, while modern science is busy looking for those tiny chemical clues, humanity has always searched for lost worlds in a different way, through our stories. Long before the Silurian Hypothesis was a thing, we were telling tales of these incredible civilizations that were just swallowed by the sea. These are the classic legends, the ones that whisper of entire worlds lost just beyond the horizon.
And what's really interesting is when you look at the two most famous lost continents, Atlantis and Mu, they come from completely different places. You've got Atlantis, which is ancient. It's a philosophical story, a cautionary tale from Plato about a society that got too greedy and arrogant. But then you have Mu, which is a much more modern idea, really pieced together in the 1800s as this supposed motherland for every other civilization on Earth.
And listen to how Plato describes the end of Atlantis. It's absolutely chilling. It's not this slow, gradual decline. Nope. It's a sudden, catastrophic event that erases them from existence. This idea of a world just vanishing in an instant is a super powerful theme you see pop up in a lot of these legends.
The folks who believe in Mu point to this collection of really intriguing, though, let's be honest, largely unverified clues. The big one is these supposed Na'akal tablets that a writer named James Churchward claimed he discovered and translated. And from there, the theory just pulls in all these other real-world mysteries, like why are the giant moai heads on Easter Island there? Or why do pyramids in Egypt and Mexico look so similar? The answer, for them, is a single forgotten source for all of it: Mu.
Okay, so what if a civilization wasn't lost to a giant wave or an earthquake? What if it was just erased, wiped from our memory? And this brings us right back to the Silurian Hypothesis and its hunt for clues that aren't hidden in myths, but are buried right under our feet. So here's the billion-dollar question. If there are no buildings, what do you even look for? Well, Frank and Schmidt proposed searching for chemical fingerprints. It's kind of like cosmic forensics. You'd scan ancient layers of rock for weird spikes in carbon, which could point to massive fossil fuel burning. Or you might find strange nitrogen deposits, maybe a sign of synthetic fertilizers on an industrial scale. And the Holy Grail? Finding super rare radioactive isotopes that don't occur in nature, which might even hint at a nuclear event, way back in the past. You know, this idea of an erased history is the absolute cornerstone of a much more recent and pretty sprawling internet theory, the Tartarian Empire. The theory goes that a massive, global power that once covered most of Asia was deliberately and systematically scrubbed from our maps and our history books for political reasons. And this right here, this is the core visual evidence that supporters of the theory always point to. For centuries, you can see it right on old European maps. Mapmakers use the name Tartari to label this huge, vague region of Asia. It's there, map after map. And then, suddenly in the 19th century, poof, the name vanishes. Now, historians say this is just because our geographic knowledge got better, but proponents of the theory see a conspiracy, proof of a deliberate erasure.
All right, so we've gone from worlds that sank under the waves to worlds that were erased from history. Now we're going to escalate to an even more mind-bending idea. Civilizations that were never destroyed at all. They're just hidden from us, existing right now in realms we just can't see.
The most famous and enduring of these legends is, without a doubt, Agartha. This is the idea of a kingdom deep in the center of a hollow earth. The stories say it's a sanctuary, a safe haven for the survivors of other lost worlds like Atlantis, a living library of ancient wisdom, totally protected from all the chaos we've got going on up here on the surface.
And what's so wild is that these stories aren't just from one culture. They are everywhere. You've got legends pointing to secret entrances in the Himalayas, guarded by monks, or hidden deep under the ice of Antarctica, or buried beneath the Sphinx in Egypt, even inside Mount Shasta, right in California. It's like this global tapestry of myths, all suggesting there's a door, if you just knew where to look.
So parallel to the world within the Earth, you have the legend of a world at the very top of the globe. The ancient Greeks told stories about Hyperborea, a perfect paradise beyond the north wind where the sun always shined. And it wasn't just a place, it was an ideal, home to a perfect race of beings who lived in total peace.
And the people who lived there, the Hyperboreans, the descriptions are just incredible. They were said to be tall, glowing, practically luminous. They lived for 1,000 years without ever getting sick or going to war. They were so spiritually advanced that the Greek god Apollo supposedly preferred hanging out with them over the Greeks. They were said to have mastered technologies we can only dream of, like crystal power and telepathy, before a massive pole shift buried their paradise under ice and snow.
So after journeying through all these incredible stories, from cities at the bottom of the ocean to empires wiped off the map and entire worlds hidden from view, we have to stop and ask the really big question here. What is this deep, deep fascination we have with the idea of not being the first?
We've explored Atlantis, Plato's classic warning about a civilization that got too powerful and was put back in its place by nature.
We've looked at Mu, the idea of a great motherland in the Pacific, a more modern myth of a lost global paradise.
We've seen the theory of Tartaria, an entire empire that some believe was intentionally deleted from our history books.
And we've glimpsed into Agartha, the hidden kingdom of ancient masters, believed to be thriving deep within the earth.
So why do we tell these stories? Think about it. From ancient Greece to some random corner of the internet today, the basic narrative is always strikingly similar. There was a before time, an age of wonders, a golden age that somehow was lost. What is it about that specific idea that hits us so hard, no matter who we are or where we live?
And that's the ultimate question we're left with, isn't it? Are these tales just powerful myths, stories we invent to make sense of our world and maybe our own feelings of inadequacy? Or could they be something more? Could they be the faint, garbled, fragmented memories of a history so incredibly ancient that it's turned into legend? The kind of history you can't dig up with a shovel, but that you can only find in the stories we can't seem to stop telling.